Late debate co-host Liz Storer. Good to see you, Liz.
You too.
And in Melbourne, Justin Smith, broadcaster, author and general opinionator. Thanks for joining us.
Hello to you both.
I'll tell you what, we won't spend too much time on tax, and we'll be talking about this tax stuff forever, but what kills me here is the coalition have done what they politically had to do, I suppose. We're not going to stand in the way of this tax cut. Instead of standing up and arguing for their own legislated tax cuts, they're actually going to vote for Labor's tax cuts in the end, which sort of gets them out of a pickle. But it does enable Labor to have a red-hot go at them over hypocrisy. Have a look at Jim Chalmers today.
The Leader of the Opposition wanted to boycott Woolies, and then he wanted to boycott Middle Australia as well. But after all their posturing and all their politicking and puffing themselves up goes the little white flag, Mr Speaker.
So, Liz, how does it go? How do you criticise something so strongly and then say, oh, yeah, but we'll vote for it?
It hasn't gone that well. They literally, given it polled so well, we saw the Newspoll on Monday, 2/3 of Aussies are like, yep, we don't mind you robbing from the rich to give to the poor, thanks Robin Hood. Last week we saw the Essential poll saying exactly the same thing. This measure, broken promise or not, is polling well. Early days, but it's polling well. And so Dutton yesterday coming out and being like, Albanese did this for his political survival, made me laugh. Because I'm like, mate, Dutton, you're supporting it now for your political survival. He said he's doing it to support families during a cost of living crisis. That's why Albanese said that he did it. So right now they're completely in tandem, and he's lost every point of difference on this issue. It's just completely lost.
Yeah, and Justin, what neither side will say out loud, because it doesn't suit their interests, but this package now amounts to a tax increase for a lot of Australians. Not most Australians, of course, but anyone over 150 grand, this is a tax increase.
Yeah, and those people were quite rightly expecting a bit of a cut because that's what they told they were going to get. I get the feeling here, and the two of you help me out, I think that, that people at home are really getting a bit sick of the game here. We've got one leader who made a promise, was asked repeatedly to stick by that promise, and he did, and then he said, oh, hang on, I'm going to break that promise. And even though some people, might make out well because of it, and then we've got another leader in Peter Dutton who has become the master of political overreach. Instead of keeping his trap shut until it was time to open it, he just fired off. And I think people, and then we're watching, Chalmers talk about the white flag, and just the theatre of it is becoming really dull here.
Yeah.
And I think we're just a little bit tired of the game.
I just like to see politicians at some stage stand on something and stick by it. Like, say, net zero. And this was another case. They could have stood by it. Sure, Labor might have had to deal with the Greens, and it might have even been worse, but then let them wear that. What about this boss, the Greens in here with the union rules, and everyone's looking at it seriously, oh, it's a bit rough if the boss rings you out of hours or whatever. There's no problem here to be fixed, is there?
It's
get government out of it.
Nonsense. Yes, get government out of it. This comes back to personal responsibility. If you want a 9-to-5 job, get a 9-to-5 job. If your boss is contacting you out of hours, that's when you go, you know what? I don't think I'm suited to this role because I'm not up for that.
I'm going to join the public service.
Exactly.
Get a job at the ABC.
And if you're up for working those extra hours and being on call, get that kind of job. Why is government now inserting itself into every relationship under the sun?
Yeah.
Bring back small government.
How would you go after all your years in the media, Justin, not taking calls out of hours?
I go into a bit of a panic when I don't get a call, for some reason. Look, I know that the unions, this is going to be a big thing. This right to disconnect is going to be enormous. And a lot of unions, every union that is worth its salt is pushing for this at the moment. And I kind of think, look, that's okay because that's their job, to negotiate that and also to negotiate contracts that are specific for that job. And if your job is suited to a right to disconnect clause, then that's fine. But I actually agree with the two of you. I don't think the federal government has got a role to stay. It's got to be tailored to individual jobs. What are we going to? Are we going to have a job in the media where I get a call at 10 o'clock at night, being told that the big story is breaking and that I'm to be a part of it and cover it or whatever, and then I find out that my employer gets a fine for doing it? Come on. I think we've got to tailor it a little bit.
Yeah.